I'm Nahma Sandrow Myers. My husband and I spent the spring semester of 2010 in Częstochowa. We were sent there by Bet Polska, which is the Jewish renewal movement, to teach American literature at Jan Długosz University there and to teach Jewish subjects. We met Halina soon after we arrived. There was a Purim celebration at the Teskazhed. Teskazhed, in case there's anybody that doesn't know that's listening to this, Teskazhed is a network of Jewish clubs that the communists set up through Poland. And they're almost all gone. But the one in Częstochowa still exists, and the reason why it still existed was because of Halina, who made sure that who kept it going. She was the heart of the event, the Purim event. She was the heart of the organization, which means of Jewish life in Częstochowa, and she was full of life. She was a personage. That night she was laughing. She was dancing. She was wearing a Purim hat, gold, and it was a costume. But on her, it looked like a queen. It really did. She was kind of royal. We went together with Halina, my husband and I, and Halina and a few of the young people from Częstochowa. We went to Łódź, to Lodz in Poland for Shabbos. And everybody there at the synagogue knew her. They welcomed her with pleasure. They relished her lively conversation. No, we didn't understand her conversation. It was in Polish, but we could see that everybody wanted to listen to her and wanted to hear what she had to say and laughed appreciatively. And we could see from her face that it was full of humor, full of life. That she was, and not silly humor. She was smart. She was looking around at what was going on, and she had wise things to say. I saw her once. We were both at the Częstochowa train station at the same moment. We happened to pass. She didn't notice me that time. She was with a group of friends who were there visiting from Israel. So she had friends in Israel because who had left in '68. Friends of her youth, a bunch of women. And they were all glad to see each other. They were giggling and affectionate. I should say that 1968 was, she didn't remember the war, of course. Her parents were survivors, but she was born right. She didn't remember. But she grew up in Częstochowa, where there was a Jewish community in her youth. There was a community center, and there were groups and clubs, and she learned about Yiddishkeit, and she learned, they did Jewish drama and Jewish music and Jewish arts. But in 1968, everybody left just about, and she herself was longing to go to Israel. She wanted to make Aliyah. But her parents felt they couldn't do it. They didn't have the strength. And she stayed. She stayed. It was the great sacrifice of her life. She stayed. She stayed to be with them and take care of them. They had been, her father had been in the work camp. There was a very big labor camp in Częstochowa. Her mother, I think, had been in another town and in a camp. And they met. There was a building in Częstochowa, in the area that had been where the Jews lived. And after the war, Jews made their way there, both the ones that had been in the Częstochowa labor camp and ones who came from other towns, and they somehow ended up there. And her mother was there, homeless. They were all homeless. And that's where her parents met. So I want to say she was intelligent. She was full of liveliness and vitality. She was in pain. Her leg bothered her a lot, maybe both of her legs. She had been in an accident and she limped and she was in pain. She never complained. Never complained. Did her best to walked along, kept up, walked the stairs up to the Teskajet, which was not on the ground floor because, although it was not in danger, it was in an office building on the second floor. It was not in danger in these years, but the other Jews in Teskajet had such terrible times that they didn't want to be on the ground floor, because on the ground floor they can stone through the windows, so they felt safer on the second floor. She never complained. We talked in Yiddish. Jacob asked me about that recently. We talked in Yiddish, and for neither of us, it was her first language, I think. I know maybe Polish was her first language. And my Yiddish I make mistakes, for sure. But we communicated. I liked her a lot. I had a lot of respect for her. And I don't want to finish without saying that her son gave her such pleasure. She didn't expect he would end up in Poland. But because there wasn't enough Jewish life, but it was because of her. She got him into Jewish programs. She schlepped him to Warsaw and back when he was young. This is before I knew her. She did her best to... Kashrus in Poland, even now, is in a lot of Europe, except for certain neighborhoods, I think. It's not like in America. It's hard. It's hard to find kosher food. It's a job in itself, and she had to learn, and she did, and she would be very happy with how Jacob ended up. They loved each other. She was a wonderful woman. Thank you.